Okay, so let's talk about the latest episode of Servant. This was definitely, I think, by far one of the best episodes we've had on all of the series. And before we get into it, we will definitely be having our theory video coming out later this week, and you should definitely tune into that. But let's talk about this finale right here. Well, the finale's coming up, but in this latest episode of Servant, we kind of see Uncle George sort of try to retract everything that we've known about the show. And for a moment, he almost got me as well. He tries to say that Leanne is nothing special, that she was just a girl that was found after a fire destroyed her whole family, and she was eventually taken into this cult, this sort of religion that he was a part of as well at some point, and she was just sort of like very infatuated with the religion and all of that. Now, after everything that happened to her in her life, she sort of became infatuated with Dorothy. While all of this is being said by Uncle George, Dorothy herself is making her own discoveries about Leanne with her colleague and trying to get to the bottom of where did Leanne exactly come from, and basically comes to the same conclusion that she lost her family and she sort of became like in love with Dorothy, wanted to be a part of her family and all of this. And every year on the anniversary of her mother's death would go and try to see where Dorothy was, and Dorothy was able to spot her in all of her reportings she had done over the years. So Uncle George says that there is nothing special. It's all coincidence of what has happened to everybody, and that Leanne really doesn't have any powers. He says this to both Julian as well as Sean, and we have them believe him at a point that this is all coincidence, and she's just in fact going deranged and doesn't really have all of these powers she claims to have. Now, after this conversation, he says the only way this is going to be right is if you bring me to Leanne, let us take her from you, and then everybody can go about their way. They are kind of hesitant to do this, more specifically Julian, because he doesn't know if they can trust what they're going to do to Leanne or not. Eventually, we do see that they come to the conclusion that we have to get rid of Leanne. We have to do this. Later that night, however, there's this big storm and all of that, and we realize that Uncle George was lying. Leanne is powerful. She does have these powers. He was just saying this in a way to sort of maybe manipulate them to think that it's kind of easy to just get rid of her. You just have to do it, and you can just bring it to us. But she does have some sort of like divine power of sorts, and she is sort of like a Antichrist, it sounds. She is sort of referred to almost as Lucifer, the fallen angel, is something that we hear being said a lot. And this sort of is a way now we're seeing the show develop into where Leanne is sort of fighting with God at points, shouting at the skies, and just being this person that says, I can bring you happiness, I can do all of this for you, God isn't doing this for you, I'll do it for you. And it turns into something more than I think we ever anticipated the show would become, where Leanne is more in line with the Antichrist than just a regular divine like creature of sorts. I think the way the show kind of developed it was that she was sort of like this angel, sort of in the way like Lucifer was an angel at the beginning at first, and then slowly started to rebel and sort of feel they were more powerful than God and all of this. And that's where we have Leanne right now, who is sort of like saying, I am more and can do more than God can, and I am going to continue to do this. We see Julian try to get her down to where Uncle George is. She doesn't budge. So he gets Sean to help him take her down to Uncle George, where we eventually see that Uncle George is there with some other members, and then Julian and Sean leave. We have Uncle George talk to Leanne, and he pretty much says, hey, I know I can't defeat you. I know we can't kill you. We've tried so many times. There's only one person that can kill you, and that's yourself. You have to sacrifice yourself because you are too much. You are destroying this family. And the word that triggers Leanne is when she hears Uncle George call her wicked. This is when she just takes that dagger, kills Uncle George, and kills the other members, and she's pissed at this point. We then see her go back up with Sean and Julian, and they're kind of like, shit, what did we just do? They are scared. They're trying to get a hold of the situation. At the same time, Dorothy has fallen again, hurt her back, it seems, and they were trying to have a moment as well, her and Dorothy, right before Leanne got taken. Leanne was trying to figure out what was going on with Dorothy. Why could she never accept her, love her, all of this? But now Dorothy is hurt, and she is going to need Leanne, because we see that Leanne makes a way where Sean actually injures himself by stabbing himself, and Julian falls down these stairs. Both of them have to be taken by paramedics, and she basically says, you two are never coming back into this house. And we know Leanne's going to make sure that this happens. So now we have Dorothy and Leanne stuck in this house by themselves. We don't know where this is going. We have one more episode. What is going to happen? So my theories, my thoughts on it right now is, well, let's get into my thoughts on this episode, and then I'll get into theories, which might be spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, this is probably, I'll let you know when I'm going to get into spoilers. This is the way I see the show. Leanne is Lucifer, Dorothy is humanity, humans, and then we have God. I think Leanne is telling Dorothy, I give you all of this. I'm giving you all of the things that you needed. Your son died. Well, of course, Dorothy doesn't really know this part. But I brought him back to life for you. I'm giving you all these precious gifts, and yet you still are rejecting me. You're still pushing me away. Why is that so? I think the house is Earth, and we see it because of all of the back and forth that the house is having. Sort of like a purgatory as well, is where Dorothy is at this point, where she is just stuck to this house now, and she's here trying to figure out where's the best route to go. So I think, and spoilers ahead of course, that in the final episode we might see Dorothy have to be the one to kill Leanne. And I think that there is a sort of like divinity to that, because Leanne is so like attached to Dorothy. She sees Dorothy in this higher light of sorts, and so for Dorothy to be the one to kill her, it might just feel right to Leanne that this is the way it has to be, because if her death means Dorothy being happy, that just might be exactly what Leanne is going to do, because it is always in her intention and everything she's done over the past seasons to make Dorothy happy. So we could be getting into a position where Dorothy and Leanne might be battling it out, and then eventually this might have a sort of like eureka moment for Dorothy to think, Leanne, the best way that you can make me happy in all of this is if you just go away forever. And so I think that we could definitely see a position where we have Dorothy having to like kill Leanne, and I think that that might definitely be the way that the show will end. But I don't know, those are my thoughts, my opinions. I'm gonna make more theory on it, make a longer video for it. That was just my recap of the latest episode and my thoughts on it. I know I really dropped the ball, yeah, I'm sorry. I was gonna make video after video every week, got caught up on a lot of things, still trying to sort out a lot of things as well. So we're definitely going to be doing the live for the finale, all of that, so stay tuned for that. But as always, let me know your thoughts and opinions on Servant. What do you think of the final episode? What are you expecting to see in the comments down below? And make sure you hit that notification bell. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers, less than 4,000 to go. We have some new shows this month. We have Yellow Jackets, we also have Secession, we have Swarm, and a bunch of other stuff. So very excited to get into all of that. But as always, I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.